This happened when I was on my way to my grandmother's house. On that day, I tried to catch the jeepney because the other buses were already full at 12 a.m. I finally found a jeepney, and there were only a few people inside. There was a driver, a money collector who was hanging onto the outside of the vehicle, 2 girls, a few guys, and an old woman. We were on the road when we passed by a mental hospital. Then a lady with a hospital gown on was standing there, pointing her finger out, which meant she wanted a ride. She was bald and her face was pale white. The jeepney stopped next to her, and the inside of the car went silent. The streets were covered in fog and darkness, and the light of the jeepney was the only light source. At the time, I was texting my grandma and said that I was going to be late while glancing at the lady. However, before she stepped on the stairs of the jeepney, the driver abruptly jammed the accelerator and left her behind. I was confused. It seemed like everyone was too. When we looked over at the driver, he seemed to be so scared, but we didn't know the reason why. I asked him why he left the lady behind, and he replied with a trembling voice. He said, "She's not just a lady, ma'am." At that point, the driver looked at the rearview mirror, shut his mouth, and then increased the speed. When I followed his eyes towards the mirror, I saw it. The lady was running towards the jeepney with a weird pose and an abnormal speed. She was so fast that I couldn't see her face clearly, but her dress was visible. It was covered with blood. The collector, who was hanging outside, jumped inside and then yelled to the driver, "Faster! She's getting closer!" People inside of the jeepney were getting scared. I was the closest to the door, and out of nowhere saw the lady jump on the vehicle. She then slowly hung onto the door of the jeepney, and finally she lifted her face. She had bruises all over her face, and she was smiling at us with sharp teeth and big, deep black eyes. My heart almost stopped, and everybody in the jeepney screamed. I quickly hit her with my bag, and she tumbled down from the jeepney. However, the moment she got off, I saw her standing. She looked at me and then laughed like a demon. Not long after, the jeepney finally reached the station. Everyone hurried off the car. I got off and handed my payment to the guy. Then I went to the 7-Eleven nearby and bought some snacks to ease my nerves. I was at the counter thinking about what just happened, and then the cashier suddenly asked me, "Are you okay?" "Yeah, I'm fine. I'll just say that I saw a crazy lady on the road when we were riding on the jeepney," I said, and then I couldn't believe his response. "I know her. She had cancer, and the moment she lost all of her hair, she went crazy, laughing all the time, hurting herself, and even threatening to kill people. That's why her family eventually moved her out to the mental hospital. But after a week, she tried to escape, got hit by a jeepney, and died," he said. I was shocked, and goosebumps were all over my body. I asked the cashier if he still remembered the plate number of the jeepney. Well, for my privacy, I'm not going to mention the number, but after he told me, I thanked him, got my change, and looked for the jeepney I was on. The moment I found the jeepney again, I froze. The jeepney that I rode was the same one that hit and killed the lady.